The Alpha Sessions with Alan Joyce.
I'm Alan, this is the Alpha Sessions, based here at Radio Brockley, serving the Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital here in Stanmore. And I am very pleased to be joined once again by Nikita KC. Welcome back.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Well, thank you very much for coming back to the Alpha Sessions. There's been a lot happening since we last saw you in summer 2019.
Yeah.
Last time we were here was one of the hottest days of the year, I think,
wasn't it? Oh my gosh, but to be fair, the weather's beautiful again today, so we're kind of lucky.
It is, exactly. So there you go. So you described 2019 on your Instagram as a sowing the seeds year. Tell us what you mean by that.
Oh, you saw that one.
I did.
I forgot how well you do your little research. I wasn't expecting that question.
Yeah.
So in the seeds. So basically, what I was saying is I've been working on a lot of different projects. Some actually, one in particular I mentioned to you earlier that I've kind of gone down a different road in my creativity, which I won't talk too much about. But yeah, and it's just been a year of kind of doing a lot behind the scenes rather than like putting out music, which is what I expected to do. After It's Not Good Enough in 2018, I thought, right, yeah, put this one out. I just want to keep writing and put more music out and stuff. It didn't end up happening like I thought it would. Because I actually started the year last year in the studio working on a release that that I've performed today, one and only, and then it got just postponed for several reasons, and it didn't get finished. And then I was in the studio working on another track, and again, just life, life getting in the way a bit. And I just kind of accepted it. And then I came to the end of last year and I kind of really reflected back and I thought, actually, I've achieved more this year than I thought I did. I've got like potentially 3 new singles to put out in 2020. And I've been working on just little branding things of my own. And yeah, I've just been working on things more than I thought I did. So I realised actually what you've been doing, Nikita, is sowing seeds this year. And there are years that, I'm sure I speak for many other fellow artists that you think, I haven't achieved much. I set out the year to kind of release A, B and C and it didn't happen. And you can get really down on yourself. But actually when you step back, sometimes you realise you've done more than you thought. So yeah.
And from the outside, it certainly looks as though you were doing quite a bit, and we're going to touch on a couple of them now. Like, for instance, what we did see you at in summer last year was the Soul Strip Sessions, which was one of the gigs we saw you at. It was actually on the rooftop in a place in Brixton.
Prince
and it was
of Wales, yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing gig. Tell us a bit about it, because it looked like so much fun to be part of.
It was. So I saw Soul Strip Sessions on Instagram. I'm seeing everything is Instagram based now, isn't it? And I came across a few of their events and I thought, this looks great. So last summer, I thought, right, I just want to do a few live gigs. And I got in contact with B, who runs it. It's her, shout out B. And and then she had me on the show and on the live show, and it was brilliant. Like the vibe there was, I mean, you were there yourself. It was just, it's quite unique. And she attracts quite a large audience and everybody is there for the music. It's, it was quite quiet when you were performing. You felt everybody's attention and they were really taking in the music. And I even got the audience to join in with me on It's Not Good Enough. And it was like,
I said, that must
awesome.
be the ultimate thing for an artist, isn't it? To have everyone singing your song back to you.
Yeah, definitely, because it's kind of the whole point. That's what even when I wrote It's Not Good Enough, I was envisioning, I could hear people in my mind going, it's not good, especially women, like, it's not good enough. But yeah, no, it was a really fantastic gig, and like I'd say any independent up and coming artist who's looking for like London based gigs, get in touch with Soul Strip Sessions. It's a really fun gig to play, and it's a great vibe. It's all about women in music as well. And then we did our little song at the end all together. All the artists get together on stage and we perform something together and do some harmonies and stuff. So,
and this was brilliant because I think it was people from the audience shouting out random topics and you all had to improvise with each other.
Yeah.
But it was amazing because it's like you'd all been working together for ages. You gelled so well. It was brilliant.
We did. It was a good vibe between us. And they were so lovely, like gorgeous women, and just so talented, and yeah, it was fun. It was a good vibe.
Oh, we really enjoyed it as well.
I'm glad.
Another thing you tried last year was busking as well for the first time, wasn't it? So
I did.
How did that go?
That was another thing that kind of came out the blue. It's something that, I'll be honest, I never really wanted to do. And then I just kind of was thinking about it for a while, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to just give it a try. And it was pretty much a decisive moment where I thought, I'm going to get myself an amp and I'm just going to go out there and do it. And I had an amazing first day busking, ended up in Trafalgar Square. I didn't really plan where I was going to go. I just kind of let the day take me where it took me. But I had this kind of instinct pulling me to Trafalgar Square, and I was kind of saying, why would I go Trafalgar Square? It's going to be loads of buskers there, and it's a bit daunting for your first one. But something was saying, go to Trafalgar Square, so I did. And there was no buskers there, and I thought, okay. And I set up and got cracking with it, and it was really, really great. And I ended up having quite a unique experience where quite a few people passers-by were crowding around, taking footage, and then stuck around to chat to me after. And one guy was from Germany, and he was a musician, and he just literally sat and watched my set. And we got talking afterwards. He says, I'm visiting from Germany. I love London. And he was so lovely. And he said, look, I don't have a piano, obviously, but I want to jam with you. Where could we go?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I've kind of let this day just run its course by itself naturally today. So I'm going to continue with this. I said, well, I'm finishing up my set. In some of the stations, train stations, there are some pianos for people to play. He was like, wait, we've got to go. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And we ended up in King's Cross St Pancras. And then we ended up meeting some other musicians there, one guy that was playing the piano. And then we kind of ended up having like a little jam between all of us. Wow. And then I was singing, and then people were stopping and just watching and joining in. And it was a really special day. And I was like, why did I never busk before? Because it's got something special about it, because you're interacting with people that you wouldn't normally see every day, and you're kind of just sharing your music, and people enjoy it.
I mean, that's not bad for your first busking experience, is it? A lot of people who come on this programme are buskers and do it as a full-time thing, and obviously there are some negative sides as well, with people sort of trying to stick their oar in and giving you advice and stuff like that. I mean, would you go back to it, do you think?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I've wanted to, but so as I got started, I think I did maybe day 3 or 4 of busking, and I started documenting it a little bit as well, and it got short-lived because I've in 2019 as well, I don't know why I keep saying that, but last year I had some issues with my voice where something wasn't feeling right for a long time. I think I overdid it, so I went to an ear, nose and throat, and I had inflamed vocal cords, and the doctor said, you need to take at least 2 months out of singing. So, and that was just off the back of me starting to do busking. And I was like, oh man, but it was affecting me, because even when I was busking, I'd get to maybe my 6th song and my stamina goes, my control over my voice, and so it was affecting me, and I thought if I keep pushing it, I might just do worse damage. So I did take 2 months out after that. So I haven't got back to busking as yet, but it is something I want to do this year. Must
have been such a frustrating time, though, to be told that just as you were starting something new. I mean, did you feel that was something that was coming on over a long period of time, or was it just very sudden? Yeah.
From like February, March last year, I guess like everything, we take a lot of things for granted, and it kind of... I decided to see it as a bit of a wake-up call, and kind of realise that, okay, I need to put my vocal health, kind of make it a priority. So yeah, I took 2 months out, but in that 2 months I ended up writing a children's book, which I didn't expect to. So I literally said to myself, okay, you've started the busking, you've enjoyed it, you've done it, tick, you can come back to it, but right now, take the rest you need and put your creativity to something else, not knowing that this kind of book would end up writing itself and I'd end up going down this other kind of path as well. But yeah, I'm glad that happened actually, because it was just one of those little curveballs. And
so typical of you, as we were talking about last time, some positive came out of a not such positive situation, which is
great. No, it did for sure. And I think that's just kind of how life is, isn't it? You just gotta take it as it comes. And like even today, like you saw me, was a bit of a struggle today, but it's about stepping back and kind of just letting things be, you know.
And if you'll hear the 2 tracks that have been performed today on this session, to anyone listening to it, it sounds absolutely amazing. And I guess, as an artist, when you've got problems with your throat, it must be, as I say, very frustrating.
Yeah.
And do you have to kind of do different warm-ups now to what you were doing before, or treat your voice differently?
Yeah, I have to just be more conscious about how I'm using my voice, and warm up before, do warm downs. I admit I haven't got the best at it still. I'm still got a long way to go in my self-discipline. But yeah, it has made me think and wake up a lot more with not taking my voice for granted, or anything for granted in that matter, really. But yeah.
So one of the main reasons we've got you in today is to talk about your brand new track, which you can tell us about, All in Two.
Yes.
And it's taken you in a kind of different musical direction, still R&B, but very different sound to the previous stuff. So was that a conscious decision, or did that happen by accident, really?
No, it wasn't a conscious, maybe it was a subconscious decision.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I've been listening a lot, I'd say last year, to a few tracks from like Her and Ella May, and also just a few others that have kind of got this kind of floaty R&B feel, and I'm calling it spacey R&B. I've created a playlist now on my Spotify as well called Spacey R&B, because it puts me in a little bit of a dream world. That's my best way to explain it. So when I listen to these kind of songs, they just invite me into a world where it's a little bit zony. If you get what I mean, yeah. Puts me in a certain zone, and a bit of a reflective, dreamy zone. So I think subconsciously listening to a lot of that, even Ariana Grande's last album as well, like her songs like Needy, they just have this kind of ambience about them, and I think that ended up going on to influence All in Two a little bit. I'm not saying it's like Ariana Grande at all, but I've taken definitely some sort of influences in the musicality from I think artists like that.
I didn't know that I would like you. I didn't know that I'd be on you, boy. I like the way that I excite you. One look my way has got you overjoyed. You're hanging on a minute, you're waiting up, and then we're talking till the sun comes up. I didn't know that I would like you. Really feeling you. Sometimes we'll kick it, at times I'll be distant. I know it's been such a long time, but I missed it. I never thought I'd fall for you. I didn't see you coming through. Well, I know I'm all into, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm all into, I'm talking to you, yeah, I'm talking to you, boy, talking to you, yeah, I'm talking to you, boy, talking to you, yeah, I'm talking to you, boy. Well, I'm loving the places we go, and it's crazy cause nobody knows, and I can't get you out of my mind, boy, you got me. Never thought I'd fall for you, I didn't see you coming through, but I know I'm all into, yeah, 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 yeah. into. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm all into. Yeah, I'm all in. I light him up and he know I'm all in his zone. We kicking back and I know he's feeling my flow. I light him up and he know I'm all in his zone. I know he's feeling my flow. I know you're feeling my. I light him up and he know I'm all in his zone. We kicking back and I know he's feeling my flow. I light him up and he know I'm all in his zone. I know you're feeling my flow. I know you're feeling my. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm feeling you, baby, yeah. Oh, I'm feeling your flow. I'm feeling your flow. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm all into, yeah. I'm all into.
The Alpha Sessions with Alan Joyce.
So in an interview I've just done as well with a company called Brie Love, they're an American company. We're just gonna like laugh now. They interviewed me on the track, and I spoke about how it's kind of a dreamy song, and I think that is quite relevant to me. If I'm honest, I can go into a really dreamy space, and I've kind of said in the interview that All In Two is basically my musical daydream. So if you could take my daydream and the place I go to in my head and put it into a musical form, All Into is probably what you get.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And when did you write it? Did you write it last year?
I wrote it, about February last year.
Right.
It kind of, I wasn't writing it though for it to be my song or anything. I was working with a producer at the time, and we were writing just different pop songs and stuff, more for a catalogue as opposed to like writing anything for me as an artist. But I love the song so much, I was like, I'd actually really like to sing this myself. And he was all right with it, he was cool with it. So then it just, we finished it, and then he moved back to France, and then, as I said, lots of life just throwing things in. He moved back to France, then we didn't get to like work on it anymore. And then October last year we spoke, and we were like, we should really do something with that track, and I just got the ball rolling basically.
Well, it's a great track. It sounds really commercial, and I hope it's going to do really well for you.
Thank you.
One thing we talked about last time is that you do, in your songwriting process, use a lot of your personal experiences, whether it be your dream world or other stuff that's been going on to you at the time. I mean, how do you feel about kind of sharing these thoughts when they get released? Do you kind of get nervous about sort of people reacting to something that's very personal to you?
I don't actually, no, because I wouldn't write the songs if it wasn't coming from that place. And it's, as I think I might have said last time, it's a form of self-expression, and it's just getting all those emotions or feelings out into a musical form, because that's obviously the way I express myself. And then you can always, it's almost like taking a picture in a sense, because when you take a picture of something, you've got that moment forever. You can always look back. And with a song, it's the same thing. So when I listen to like All In Two, for example, it takes me back to a kind of place in my head. A place in my head that is inspired by a person and a situation. So yeah.
Okay. I mean, talking about interacting with your audience and stuff, again, we touched on this last time. How do you kind of find it when people reach out to you based on the experiences that you've had and want to kind of talk about their situation? Is that quite a burden for you, or do you enjoy interacting with people that way?
If it provokes someone to want to express themselves and say, oh, like I've gone through a similar thing, your song really helped me, or something like that, which I've had a few times when I've performed live. I've had people come up to me and say, that song brought me to tears, I'm going through this situation, and I just needed to hear what you said in that song. And then, it's just a way to connect, isn't it? And it's like, yeah, well, that's why I wrote the song, because I went through X, Y, and Z, and you're going through it too. We can relate to each other, and music is a way to relate to each other, I guess.
Do you find it also easier? I mean, I've seen enough artists to know that sometimes the audience doesn't necessarily give you always positive feedback, and that they want to kind of take you in a direction that you maybe feel is not the direction you want to go. How do you deal with that, and how do you shut that out when you need to?
I think the best way I could relate to that question is sometimes people, actually I got asked this question in this interview I did about doing R&B soul music, which people see it as predominantly like black music, and obviously not being black, how sometimes like what people's perceptions or opinions are of that. I don't think it's that relevant anymore, because music is like R&B music. There's so many different artists from around the world, embracing R&B or soul music and singing it. But I do have had people say to me, "Oh, I thought you would be a country singer. Oh, I think you should be a country singer." Right. And it's easy to get upset about that and uptight about it. And I have in the past, I think more when I was younger, because I've actually embraced it more now. I've been listening to Casey Musgraves much. I'm obsessed with her Golden Hour album, and I do relate to country, but it's just when I write, the melody lines and the phrasing I use in the way that I write is obviously more in the style of R&B. And soul, and sometimes I don't think it's necessarily something you choose. It's just whatever comes out of you. When I write, I rarely say to myself, right, today I'm going to write in the style of, I'm going to write about, I just let whatever comes come. And sometimes that's even getting just a beat online or something, and this kind of style just kind of flows out of me more than say country does. I can write a country song, but I'd maybe have to think about it more. Does that make sense? Yeah. Sorry, I think I'm probably
no. That's really interesting, actually. And I mean, do you normally write the lyrics first, or would you normally write the melody first? So would you, for instance, if you wrote some lyrics, would you think, okay, that needs to be an R&B style, or does it not work that way?
It doesn't work that way with me. It literally, this might sound weird, but the way that I describe songwriting or the process of it is, this will sound so weird, is like giving birth. I haven't given birth. Okay. But
that's not what I was expecting.
But as in, it's like the song gives birth to itself. Yeah. Does that make sense? Right. It's such a bizarre way.
There's an image.
But there is an image, yeah. But it just kind of I don't know, it just flows out. Sometimes I do have songs that I've written where, I don't know, I've got a verse and it's come out naturally, and then the second verse, for some reason, second verses sometimes get me a little bit stuck, and I have to sit and reflect back on, hold on, what was this initially about? What direction am I going in here? Who is it about? What's the vibe? What do I want to say? And then I usually brainstorm. I'll put words on, I just flow. Whatever comes to my mind, I write it down, regardless of whether it's relevant to what I've already written or not. Does that make sense? So even if it's like dog, shoe, and we're talking about love, it doesn't matter. It's just about getting everything that's in my brain out onto the paper, and then I start piecing it together afterwards and extracting the relevant information. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I probably overcomplicated it, but it's kind of,
it's like a mind map thing that you sort of then put into a structure, a bit like that.
Yeah, but I do that if I get stuck, right, or if it doesn't come naturally. Yeah. I don't know if any of this was relevant or made sense to your question, but
no, absolutely, absolutely.
We're going with the flow.
and do you have any sort of videos in mind to go with this particular track as well?
So I am working with a videographer. We're going to be working on some visuals for the song as well, and I think I'm going to make it also a lyric video, because I haven't done a lyric video yet, and I'd like to do a lyric video. Yeah.
That way there's no excuse for people not to sing the lyrics back to you at the next gig, right?
Exactly.
I see where you're going with this. And one thing we sort of joked about today, and actually it came up in your last video, is this whole red and black theme, which, by the way, if you've seen the pictures from today, when you're in red, I'm in black. So I think we've done this rather well.
It's like just,
Exactly, right? So how did that sort of theme come about? Is that something that you've sort of always had with you, or has it happened by accident?
I just love the colour red.
Right.
And I tend to always wear black.
Okay.
As far as I can remember, like from school times, I was always wearing black. I just think it's a colour that suits everyone. It's easy to wear black.
Yeah.
But I love red because it's striking, it's bold, and it's quite a sexy colour. And so I don't know. And then gold like the gold earrings has always been my thing. So it just kind of, again, it's just ended up being my thing. Red, black and...
So no influence from the Ant and Dec TV show then, red or black?
No, I don't know that TV show.
No, you're not missing much. So we've touched on the new track, All In 2, but have you got plans for any more tracks coming out this year?
I do. As we spoke about sowing seeds in 2019, yes, I've got 2 other releases that are in the process of being finished. So they will be coming out in the foreseeable future and hopefully in the next few months. That's the plan.
And you mentioned that at the beginning of last year you were working on some tracks. I don't know if these are the same tracks as the ones that are coming out. But,
so One and Only, which I performed today, that's so far the plan is to release that next after All In 2.
But is the sound of it now the same as it was going to be when you were working on it a year ago, or have you changed the style of it to sort of change the way, your influences over the last year?
Very good question. So, funnily enough, I'm actually in the studio tomorrow going back over it. Obviously a big gap has been left from when I first went into the studio to record it. And with All In 2 now being born...
Yes, given birth to that one.
It's changed a little bit, as we said, the direction of my music. So I want to work on the music and production of One and Only, so it just lines up a little bit better with All In 2. And then my next song that I'm working on as well, with the same producer that produced It's Not Good Enough. That one is still actually quite well in line with All In 2, but it's a little bit getting that kind of real kind of soul back that you heard in It's Not Good Enough, but it's a little bit more edgy and current, if that makes sense. Yeah. Well,
it does certainly sound edgy and current to me, the ones I've heard, so I'm looking forward to having those out. So let's look ahead then to what's on the wish list for 2020.
Okay.
We've talked obviously about the tracks that are coming out, but how about venues? Have you got sort of, in a dream scenario, or perhaps something that you've realistically got lined up? Any sort of ambitions to play this year?
So I think last time I said Wembley. I'm joking.
Yeah, Wembley Stadium. Yeah.
No, I think I said the O2 last year,
yeah.
And funnily enough, I'm in talks with a promotion company about doing a gig in the O2 Islington, potentially. This is not definite.
Oh, cool.
But just so maybe next month, possibly.
That'd be
I think that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not forward thinking too much. I'm trying to just play everything by ear and be here right now as best I can, not float off. But I'd love to do soul strip sessions again. Yeah. That's something I really do want to do again. I love that gig. I've got a couple gigs lined up in February with a company called The Live Space. So hopefully the O2, and we'll see from there what happens.
And places that you'd like to go in 2020, have you got any sort of lined up? Yeah, travel-wise.
Absolutely, everywhere would be great. I went to Thailand last year in December.
Wow, amazing.
In 2018, not December just gone. That was really awesome. I'd like to go back potentially there. I really want to go to Bali.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I want to do like a yoga or meditation retreat. That's definitely up there.
That would be your perfect holiday, would it? Somewhere really
Bali.
chilled like that.
But I do want to go back to California, LA specifically, and San Francisco, and I want to go to New York because I've not done New York.
Oh, wow.
And I'd love to do a few shows out there.
Yeah, do a gig over there.
Yeah, that would be
brilliant. That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And anything else, what would you like to do more of in 2020? Anything in particular?
More gigs, 100%, if we're talking about music. And collaborations, actually.
Okay.
I'd really like to collaborate with some other artists, maybe get a feature.
Anyone in particular that you've got your eye on, if they happen to be listening to this?
Not at the minute, I'll be honest.
Okay.
No. I'm just putting the feelers out.
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran would be good, though.
Well, there we go. He's a regular listening to this programme. So.
So Ed Sheeran, if you happen to come across this, hit me up.
Yeah.
I think other than that, no, not in particular. I'm just quite open. I'm an open book this year, pretty much. Just putting the feelers out, continuing to sow some seeds. And it's all about growth for me this year, I think.
One other change from this year, or to this year from last year, that we've already established during the course of this afternoon, is that last year your rider was chocolate milk and chocolate.
And you gave me chocolate.
So we provided that today, and what did I find out? I need brandy. I mean, so how things have moved on. So this time next year, who knows what you'll be asking for? Crates of beer. Who knows?
Who knows? Well, thank you for the lovely chocolate and the chocolate milk. Honestly, that you saw me jumping up and down, so that. But no, I won't go too hardcore. I promise.
It's a low maintenance rider. I think we could probably sort that out.
Well, thank you.
Well, hopefully we look forward to seeing you at some more gigs during the course of this year. Then that's very exciting. So, how can people find out more about you if they want to check out your new tracks?
So Instagram is just the way to go. Really, I am Nikita KC, and I've got a Facebook artist page again, which is Nikita KC, and Nikita KC on Spotify. My song is, I know this is not going to come out till after the release, but the release of All Into is on the 17th of January, and it's on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, all those things. And so if you like the track as well, please DM me as well, let me know if you're feeling the track. I always like to talk to people and see what vibe, what if they're feeling the vibe. So I can't talk today, Alan. I'm just having one of those.
Just speak
days.
to her on Instagram instead. It's fine.
Yeah, just speak to me on Instagram.
She'll chat to you later on there.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later on there for sure.
It's been so much fun having you back.
Yes,
Thanks so much for coming down.
Thank you, Alan. I'll see you again.
It's past midnight and I am lying in my bed. I've got this crazy feeling about you in my head. I've tried to sleep it off, I've tried to just ignore, but every time I figure it out, it goes around my head like the same damn song. Say, baby, do you love me, or am I just in love with you? Say, baby, do you need me, or am I just needing you? If you take my love, you will find I'm your one and only. If you take my I've spent so many nights alone and so content. I knew it'd take someone to be a lover and a friend. Still I've tried to shake you off, didn't want to want for more, but something about you's calling to me, and it goes around my head like it did before. Say, baby, do you love me, or am I just in love with you? Oh, say, baby, do you need me, or am I just needing you? If you take my love, you will find I'm one and only. Oh, I'm your one and only, one and only, one and only. Oh, I've tried to fight so many times, but it's your love. It keeps on pulling me, keeps on pulling me, baby. And though I try, I can't resist. I need your touch, your tender